Station you're listening to right now, we're publishers of best-in-class national entertainment brands like Taste of Country, Pop Crush, and more. And when combined with our local brands, we can reach over 70% of consumers in our community. At Town Square, all this digital clout puts us in a unique position to help local businesses grow with powerful marketing solutions. In addition to local radio, we're experts at web design and SEO, plus targetable advertising solutions like streaming TV, addressable geofencing, YouTube, Snapchat, Facebook, Spotify, search engine marketing, and so much more. That may sound like a lot of buzzwords, but really all that matters is we can deliver a relevant and ideal target audience to your business with data-informed decisions. No guessing, no waste, and you gain a trusted marketing partner with Town Square Media.
Take your business to the next level. Call our Director of Sales, Jim McLean, today at 609-910-5247.
Sports is what we do.
Segura from a knee throws him out.
97.3 ESPN, WENJ, WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City, a Town Square media station serving all of South Jersey. This is Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app. Now, live from the Matt Black Kia Studios.
Oh, what an attack! Oh, what a move!
Here's Josh Hennig.
Josh Hennig here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. Phillies winning weekend, another series, 4 out of 5, but there is something to be concerned about. We will get to that. Plus, of course, Stanley Cup Finals game number 3 tonight. You hear the action right here on 97.3 ESPN FM and some of the latest NBA offseason news, how it may or may not affect the 76ers. We'll get to all that this hour. Of course, you can join the conversation at 609-403-0973 is the text board, and you can DM the show through the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City. Phillies beat writer for 97.3 ESPN.com, Frank Klose, will join us coming up in less than 20 minutes. Dig deeper into the Phillies as there are some positives and some negatives moving forward with the Phils. So we'll get to all of that. Let's hit on the Phillies first because we'll get deeper in that with Frank coming up this hour. So the good news is the Phillies didn't just win 4 out of 5 games, but you could argue they might have won 2 games that previously they would have lost. I think that them finding a way to win Friday night and Saturday after late afternoon was another important moment, like the Marlins situation with Monday night when they got Alcantara out of the game. It's the idea that the team is finding ways to win. And in a sport that is so long. I mean, listen, I love sports. I'm passionate about sports. But baseball is the longest of the longest. Hockey and basketball are long too. But there's one sport that trumps everyone in terms of just unnecessary length. And it's baseball. So for you to survive a baseball season that typically spans spring training from March, a regular season starts in April, doesn't finish the season until September, you're playing almost every day of the week, all season long. And if you make the postseason, you play into October. So if you have a quote-unquote successful season, you're playing from March to October. It's a long haul. So if you can find ways to win games, to me, that's a big deal. And I think the Phillies have done a great job this year at finding ways to win, finding ways to, generate a winning mentality, right? So I think to me, that is a big deal. And I think that I give them a lot of credit for doing that. Now, on the flip side, the negative from the weekend was Zach Eflin. I made the comment last week. I made it in passing. I didn't make it as, overly serious because I want to be overt or ridiculous about it. But here's the reality. Zach Eflin is becoming a problem. This knee issue that is preventing him from pitching could potentially be the next big problem for this team, because you're in the middle of a very long and important road trip. You got to keep pace. You got to keep getting wins. Yesterday, Eflin could only get through 2 innings. He took out 80 pitches due to knee soreness before that. And then yesterday, look, Eflin may have taken the quote-unquote loss on the pitching, resume, but that game was lost in large part because of the Phillies bullpen was so burned out and so taxed from Friday's doubleheader and the whole series. I mean, they're just, thanking God that they have a day off today, because that entire pitching staff is just running out of bullets at this point. I mean, you were very fortunate the last time Familia was in a game, he didn't blow it all together. I mean, the Alvarado situation on Friday night was just absolutely messy. So you had to go to a bullpen game basically yesterday, which we weren't planning on per se, because Eflin is supposed to be a guy who chews you up 5-6 innings a night, and the bullpen just didn't have it. Knable looked horrible as the game went on. Bilotti he didn't have a great game either. By the time they got to Nelson, it didn't even matter that he gave up a run in the game yesterday. So, and that young man, Geralt, I mean, he had a great game. He did a really good job at limiting the Phillies yesterday. So, but ultimately, I think that for the Phillies, they have to be concerned about Zach Eflin moving forward. Why is his knee a problem? What is going on with his knees? I mean, I have so many questions about this guy's health, because if Eflin can't go, you don't have anybody. Who are you going to go with when it comes to pitching? You are in a no-win situation because your minor leagues don't have the depth and your starting team doesn't have a lot either. So I have a lot of concern with the Phillies and their situation, because I'm looking at their schedule moving forward. And, Eflin is currently scheduled to pitch on Saturday. Is he going to be ready for Saturday? Does he only pitch 2-3 innings again? Are they going to need a bullpen game? I don't know, and I'm worried about it. Look, I know that when Gibson, Wheeler, and Nola hit the mound lately, I can hope for a win or at least a good outing. And Suarez has kind of found his groove again. But Suarez is not elite like he was last year. And if Eflin's knees are messed up, that's going to tax the bullpen, which is going to put you into more troubling game situations. And you got to finish this series in Texas, in San Diego, day off, come home against Atlanta. Do you get experimental with the bullpen and hope for the best, or do you have to make a trade? I don't know if I have a good answer for what to do with this team, but I am concerned. Now, before we get to the NBA rumors in a moment, I did want to touch on the game being on Peacock yesterday. I know for some people, they didn't remember it was on the app. Some people couldn't get the app. Some people had a lot of issues. And I just want to say 2 things as a result. Number one, I think that the game broadcast was fine. I think Jason Benetti does a very good job as a baseball broadcaster. I've heard him do a lot of games for ESPN and other platforms over the years. So I really had no problem with Benetti on the broadcast. I personally like Benetti as a broadcaster. I think he does a good job. I thought he did a good job yesterday handing off and balancing the conversation between Amaro and Franson. I think the problem, though, with the game yesterday was, if you're a Phillies fan, you saw why guys like Amaro and Ben Davis are limited. I think Kevin Franson has an incredible amount of energy and potential to really go places in this business. I think Amaro is better as a guy on the desk for like pre and post game than he is in game. And I think that he was kind of outshone a little bit yesterday by Kevin Franson. I think Franson did a great job in an opportunity to expose himself to an audience that maybe he wouldn't have had otherwise. Franson used to do the radio games, but then the Nationals scooped him up and made him their color guy. So I thought Franson did a good job. The Peacock broadcast was nothing special, but I know a lot of people were having trouble. Either they don't have Peacock or they don't have a TV that could download the app, whatever it may be. And I got to say, as we are transitioning into this world where more and more stuff is on streaming platforms, my biggest takeaway is one of two scenarios have to play out. One, everyone's just going to have to cut the cord and go app, because as I was telling Mike Gill on the Sports Bash earlier today, for someone like myself, I already have Netflix, HBO Max, Disney Plus, Hulu, ESPN Plus. At some point, I'm barely having the money to pay for all these things. And there's a lot of studies out there that have shown since the pandemic to now that the majority of people who are on these streaming apps are people who are either middle class to upper class financial incomes. So you're taking the sports away from the casual fan that can access them. And for me, I have Peacock because I have Xfinity. I don't actually pay for Peacock outright, but there's rumors out there that Xfinity is going to eventually discontinue their, basically giving you auto access to Peacock. Well, what happens then? The Phillies have 2 games coming up on Apple TV Plus. I don't have Apple TV Plus. There's a game coming up on Amazon Prime. I don't have Amazon Prime. But guess what? Thursday football is getting Amazon Prime. What do? Do I go out there and try to time out the free trial offer? Do I, cut bait with something else I'm, subscribed to go out and get Amazon Prime so I can watch the Thursday night games? Or the other side of the equation is, who's the local establishment that's going to corner the market on streaming? There's no law that says you can't stream these games in an establishment. There's no rules. There's no blackout, blah, blah, blah. None of that. So I think this is going to be an opportunity for some local businesses in our area to say, look, you want to watch Thursday football? We got the game. Come watch it with us. You want to watch the Phillies on Amazon, Apple TV Plus, or every Apple TV Plus Friday night game? We're going to have it at our establishment. I think this is an opportunity for somebody to look at the landscape and say, look, there's a lot of people that don't want to deal with the cord cutting, or maybe they can't. Not every area has the bandwidth capabilities to go fully without cable. Just because majority of main towns, like if you're in an area like Egg Harbor Township, your infrastructure is way more advanced than somewhere than, let's say, Dennis Township, right? You have a higher level of infrastructure for bandwidth and possibilities in other areas. So there's a lot of people who are still getting cable because, frankly, their highest level of internet is actually just still not good enough to handle the bandwidth. And at the end of the day, cable is still more reliable than, streaming it in some of these places. So what do people do? What is the option? I think that, there's 2 ways you can go with it. You either got to make some tough decisions financially when it comes to these apps, or I would suggest some local establishments out there, some local restaurants and bars should try to corner the market on the streaming. Listen, it's not hard to do. I guarantee you that if some local establishments called me and asked me to come out there and set up their equipment, I could do it for you in probably a couple hours. I could figure it out. It's really not that hard to do this setup. I've seen establishments do this in other places where they're streaming stuff. These UFC fights, they're not on a normal platform anymore. It's on ESPN Plus. And if you're part of that UFC bars package that you got to subscribe to, you're not getting that through regular cable. No, you're getting it through a special streaming outlet. So what happens if I go to a local establishment that's got UFC fights? You know what they do? They got to switch the TV over to the streaming side. There's a way to do this, and I think that it'd be very smart for a lot of local establishments to corner the market, because there's going to be a lot of people who are very hesitant to sign up for all these extra apps. All right, let's dig deeper into the Phillies now. Frank Klose, our Phillies insider for 97.3 ESPN.com, will join us coming up to talk more about the Phillies, Zach Eflin, and more. And we'll get to your guys' thoughts and comments as well this hour. 609-403-0973. I'm Josh Hennig. This is Game Night on 97.3 ESPN FM. And don't forget the 97.3 ESPN mobile app for your coverage of the Phillies, Sixers, Flyers, South Jersey High School sports, Eagles, and more about South Jersey, all on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, and your opportunity to win Mike Gill's Grill. More details on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
The Boston Celtics select Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart. The Golden State Warriors select Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, Stephen Curry from Davidson College.
It all started at the NBA Draft. The 2022 NBA Draft. Coverage begins Thursday at 7 Eastern on ESPN Radio.
Listen to the NBA Draft exclusively on 97.3 ESPN FM.
It's a crime to pay more than a dime.
Every vehicle, one dime down.
At the all-new Springfield Mitsubishi, Atlantic City. SpringfieldMitsu.com.
Carla's retiring early next month. We're all going to have to learn to pick up the slack.
The dessert-making role at Sawyer's Restaurant, deserted.
Tom, if you can handle beignets.
They need a new pastry chef who can souffle like it's a piece of cake.
Come on, guys, we got a line out the door. How much longer for those croissants?
Indeed can help them hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Earn up to $500 in sponsored job credits by conducting interviews on Indeed. Visit Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Starting trouble. No one likes that. We'll get you set up for some stronger starts. You might just need a fresh charge, and we'll take care of that free of charge. But if it is time for a new battery, we've got replacement batteries that'll fit your needs, starting at just $69.99. You can learn more about our battery selection at AutoZone.com. That's what makes us America's #1 battery destination.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Claim based on data from the NPD Group 2021.
What's all the buzz about cleaning your nose, nasal hygiene, and Navage? The science is simple. Your nose is the body's air filter for trapping allergens and viruses, but it's not perfect. Like washing your hands and brushing your teeth, it's time to start cleaning your nose too. Navage uses powered suction to pull saline in one nostril to the back of the nose where most germs and viruses multiply, then flushes them out the other nostril before they reach your lungs. My name's Martin Hoke, and I didn't invent nasal irrigation. It's been around thousands of years. I did invent Navage to make it easy for everyone. In less than 30 seconds, you can clean your nose. And because it's all natural and drug-free, it's safe to use Navage every single day. Are you ready to join nearly 3 million people who use Navage to breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and stay healthier? At Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Bed Bath, and Target. Navage, Navage, clean nose, healthy life.
97.3 ESPN and TracFone Wireless want to share ideas with you for enjoying the great outdoors in South Jersey. Here are some popular outdoor ideas this spring. How about taking a walk on the Ocean City, Atlantic City, or Wildwood boardwalks? Or check out the perfect place to watch a sunset. How about the Point in Longport or the Cove in Brigantine? Brought to you by TracFone Wireless. Now you're in control.
New message.
Hey, man, it's Devin. You know, from that time you accidentally emailed me because you thought I was a different Devin. Oh, and your email signature said confidential. If you receive this in error, please delete. That's so you. Anyway, I heard you bought a boat. When are we setting sail, Captain?
When you get a boat, you also get new friends. Make sure Progressive's one of them and get coverage today for as little as $100 a year.
Oh, and no, you did not receive this message in error.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Annual premium for basic liability policy not available in all states.
traffic.
Right.
This wagon commute is killing me. You mind if I turn on the old radio?
Oh, this song again. I swear they play the same 3 chants on every station.
At this rate, it's going to take a fortnight to get to work.
Well, just be glad you don't need to fill up. I mean, have you seen the price of hay?
Mm-hmm.
Throughout history, people have always hated to commute. That's why Monster lets you search work from home jobs. Find your job at monster.com or download the app.
No matter the make, no matter the mileage, no matter what you owe, Matt Blatt Kia wants your vehicle today. We need to replenish our inventory, so we need your vehicle, no matter the situation. Even if you're stuck in a loan or a lease, Matt Blatt Kia wants to get you released. Get cash for your car today, even if you don't buy a car from us. But why wouldn't you buy a new vehicle? Because if you have a job and clear $350 per week, Matt Blatt Kia wants to approve you today with 0 down and 0 payments for 90 days on any brand new Kia or pre-owned vehicle in stock. And don't forget, you can't make a mistake with our 4-day love it or leave it return policy.
It's gotta be a Matt Blatt Kia.
On approved credit plus applicable taxes and fees. See dealer for details. Not all will qualify. Deferred payment through TFCU. Interest accrues from date of sale. Offers don't combine. Go to mattblattkianj.com for complete details. Expires 6/30/22. Matt Blatt Kia, 6211 Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township, and now on Route 37 in Toms River.
You're listening to Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
Phillies had the night off. Doesn't mean that there's not something to talk about the Phillies. The good news is they keep winning. The bad news is I'm worried about Zach Eflin's knees. To get more into that right now, you can catch the Phillies mailbag every Tuesday on the Sports Back with Mike Yell and this man, our 97.3 ESPN.com Phillies insider, Frank Klose, joins us on the show to talk more about the Phillies. Frank, I got some questions. I hope you have some answers. How are you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing good. Let's start with the Eflin stuff. So I was saying earlier, when I first heard that they pulled him after 80 pitches, the previous start, because of the knee issue, I was like, okay, well, hopefully it's not a big deal. Then he only pitched 2 innings yesterday. The bullpen comes in, can't basically do anything very well. I mean, Knebel looked like he imploded all over himself yesterday. It was horrible. But I'm concerned because Eflin's supposed to start again this weekend in San Diego, and I don't know if they have a good answer for what to do if he either can't go or only can go a couple innings again, Frank.
Well, I think it's going to ultimately come down to Bailey Falter. In fact, I would not be shocked if they, even though they say everything sounds positive, Eflin himself was speaking positively, but they got to get this right. I mean, as you said, this is a big concern for this Phillies team. Their starting rotation is one of their big strengths, and it's not going to be one of their strengths if Zach Eflin is hurt. Now, unfortunately, when it came to yesterday, thanks to the doubleheader, they were already kind of stretched thin for pitching. So when he's out after 2 innings, you thought, oh, man, this game's a loss just because there's no possible way they're going to be able to keep up. And even after Knebel pitched the one inning that you really thought, okay, well, that's enough of that for the day. Well, he had to come out for a second because, again, they were out of pitching.
That's enough of that for the day.
Well, I really, and I tweeted about it at the time, when he tried it out there for inning number 2, it was you don't want to do this, but really, what options do you have?
Right.
They really kind of laid it all out there for those first 4 wins of the series. By the way, 4 out of 5 ain't bad, right? If you're talking about a 5-game series.
Very good.
Very, very good. So, but, I feel like at least if Eflin took a couple turns off in the rotation and Falter came up thanks to the off day today, I believe there's another off day coming up. They're going to be better suited to, so they'll be better suited to sort of deal with that as opposed to dealing with it on the fly like they had to yesterday.
I mean, wouldn't it be smart if the Phillies just told Eflin to go back to Philadelphia today and just put him on the injured list for 10 days and retroactive it to maybe I don't know.
They can't till yesterday.
Well, true. Well, but you know what I mean? 10 days from today is what, next Wednesday, next Thursday?
Well, here's the thing. Pitchers are 15-day IL stints once again. So really you would have to commit to those 2 weeks. So the 2 off days maybe give Bailey Falter a couple starts. I think that would be wise, because you know what, if you end up making this worse and you're without Zach Eflin, that really does affect the Phillies' chances to make the playoffs, because you saw, again, the air can come out of the bubble if you have a game like yesterday.
Now, I know a lot of people are going to say, but Frank, maybe they're already asking you on the mailbag that you're writing, Frank, isn't there some guy in the minor leagues we can call up and just fill the void? Like, fill the audience in on why this is an issue, because for me, I don't know the minor leagues that well, Frank, but there's nobody I can find down there that would be a adequate fill-in aside from Bradley Falter at this point.
Yeah, you're right. One of the problems is that right now Hans Kraus, who kind of was supposed to be one of those options down at AAA that maybe could help you out. Now, he made 3 starts this season and has been on the injured list ever since. So he was the guy, if you might remember, came over in that Spencer Howard deal along with Gibson to try to give the Phillies some depth. He is not going to be able to help the Phillies anytime soon. So that's unfortunate. So really, the other 2 starters that they kind of had in 6 and 7 were Christopher Sanchez and Bailey Falter. So I think you're going to have to go to them. But I think ultimately what you really, really need to do if you're the Phillies, you need to trade for a starter before this trade deadline. Because remember what happened last year with Rhys Hoskins. The new rules say that after July 31st, that's it. No more trades. So what are you going to do if this knee sort of flares up again in August? You need that depth. So I think the Phillies definitely need to add somebody and then also lean on Falter and Sanchez the best that they possibly can. Because really, let's face it, they're the options the Phillies have right now.
Now, the good news is, Frank, I think that we have to give the Phillies credit. They're finding ways to win. Last Monday, they survived Sandy Alcantara. They got the win late. This weekend, I mean, they shouldn't have won the game on the second game doubleheader Friday night, but they found a way to get it done. I mean, the whole Alvarado, hitting and everything was hilarious. And then Saturday's game, yeah, well, it was something. And then Saturday, Nola pitches this amazing game, but the offense really didn't do anything most of the night, and they still found a way to, scratch it out late. So I think that the positive with this Phillies team is, people are going to say, oh, they've won X number of games, 13 and 16 or whatever it is, or 14 and 16. But Frank, to me, the biggest deal is they're finding ways to win games that they previously would have lost outright.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Just the whole vibe of the team lately is, they get down a run or two. I felt like the emotion in the room was just like, all right, well, whatever, next time. Now they seem like, oh yeah, we can take care of that. And then they go out and show it. So I think there's a real possibility here that their mentality has changed greatly. I know I love the Yogi Berra quote that the game is 90% half mental. Well, but really there is a huge mental aspect to this, and I think the confidence of the players really does go a long way. Whereas the team before, it felt like if there's a little bit of adversity in a game, they would just sort of shut down and just kind of give up. Right? This team seems to keep battling. And I think when you're watching the games, you have more interest now because you feel like the Phillies can make up a couple run deficit, no problem. Even yesterday when they got down from Zach Eflin 4-0, now they got a couple runs back before Knebel came in. But even then, you still felt like the Phillies were in it, even though they were down 4 runs to really early. So, of course, that game did get away from them, but I think that really does demonstrate that this team is interested in fighting back, and that they feel like they can fight back, and that goes a long way.
How important has it been in your mind to see these guys also, find ways to win when they're best guys? Like Harper, he's got this infection blister thing, doesn't play a couple games. There was that stretch where Castellanos felt like couldn't hit the ball at all. Like, what does it say to you that it's not always been the big name money guys?
Good teams have those guys sort of on the edge of the roster, win them games. Think back to back when the Phillies used to win, right? Do you remember once upon a time there was this infielder wearing number 21 named Wilson Valdez who came out and pitched and had a big hit late in a game? It feels like the players like that kind of told the story later. The Tadahito Oguchis back in the day, right? I mean, I could go on and on about these little role players that stepped up big here or there or in various places. Eric Bruntlets of the world. When you have a good team, those guys all contribute. And it's nice for the big name players because they often tend to feel like they have the weight of the world on their shoulders. But knowing that a guy like that has picked them up really does boost confidence for the role player and for the player in the starting position. Because if you try to do too much in this game, you'll fall flat. So I think that's helped this team relax a lot, is that these bench players, the Garrett Stubbs of the world, the Johan Camargos of the world, they're coming into these games and making a difference off the bench. Matt Verling, this is not something the Phillies are used to having happen. So it's nice because even your best players are not going to get on base every single day like what Schwarber is right now, right? They're going to go through stretches where they don't hit for a few days, and you're counting on those guys to come in and make a difference. And as we're seeing, with these stretches, with these double headers, you got to rest some of these guys. And so when those guys are resting, you need those guys to come up big. And I think that's the difference often between good teams and poor teams, is that the role players step up when their name is called.
Do you think, and I'm just throwing this out there, how much of this team's success since the Girardi firing was actually Girardi, and how much of it was actually, as Charlie Manuel would say, it's hitting season?
It's not all the man. It wasn't like the manager just totally was holding them back completely. One thing we knew when Joe Girardi got fired, and is probably why he got fired, is that the team had a lot of talent. If the team didn't have a lot of talent, well, then you don't blame the manager, right? So they have a lot of high money, high talent players on this team. But what I have seen certainly since the change was made is Rob Thompson, somebody who communicates more, tends to have more of a personal relationship with the players. And I think that is making somewhat of a difference here. You often don't realize the flaws in a manager until they're gone totally. Mm-hmm. But it seems like Joe Girardi was too hands off. Nick Castellanos made a comment about, well, I didn't really talk to him that much or something along those lines. I forget the exact quote. You're like, wait a minute, you just signed this guy to $100 million and the manager is not really talking to him. But you see Rob Thompson celebrating with the players, interacting with the players. Somebody comes off the field, it maybe makes an error or maybe has something successful. You see him sitting down right next to him and kind of talking it through. So it looks like there's a lot better communication. I feel like they trust him, they like him, and hey, if a relaxed player might play to their best potential. So I think there is something to be said about that. I think the players really like Rob Thompson. I think they really respect him as a baseball guy. 38 years as a minor league coach, and definitely the change sort of woke them up. And at the same time, part of it is just that, when your boss gets fired, you look at yourself and say, "Oh, if I had done a better job, would that have happened?" I mean, they may not necessarily love his style even, and they still second guess themselves because no one likes to see somebody get fired, right? I don't care what industry you're in. If your boss gets let go, think, well, was there something I did that might have made him look bad, or something I did that led to his dismissal? And yes, in a way, yes, the players did get him fired, right? Because they weren't winning games. So that extra look in the mirror sometimes does help wake a team up, especially one with a lot of talent like this.
Frank Klose, our Phillies. Sorry about that. Phillies beat writer insider over at 97.3 ESPN.com. The mailbag, of course, is every Tuesday with Mike Gill on the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN. Hit him up at Frank Klose for your latest Phillies questions. He'll finish compiling them tonight through tomorrow. Frank, one more thing before I let you go. I talked about this a little bit before you came on. I think yesterday's Phillies game being on Peacock, now, removing the broadcast itself, because I have my own comments about that, but I think the general state of baseball with the Apple TV Plus games every Friday night, X number of games on Amazon Prime. I think one of two things are going to happen. People are either going to have to start making some tough decisions about what they're paying for, not paying for watching wise, because this is not going to go away. Baseball, like the MLS, is making real money off of this stuff. Or some local bars and restaurants are going to have to get out of their comfort zones and start becoming the place that everyone goes to watch streaming of games. Because guess what? What's coming this fall? Every Thursday night game is on Amazon Prime. So this is not like a short-term thing where it was on Facebook and YouTube like an experiment. And I think that there were people yesterday who didn't watch the game because either they didn't feel like firing up the Peacock app, or maybe they don't have Xfinity like I do, for example. Maybe they have YouTube TV and they don't have a Peacock subscription.
Netflix, Amazon Prime, Hulu, Peacock, Paramount Plus, Disney Plus. I can go on and on and on.
HBO Max.
Yeah, this market is very saturated with these apps. And apologies to the person I stole this from, but a wise man said on Twitter, we should bundle all these streaming apps together and call it cable. But the market's going to have to correct itself here because there's just so many. And I just named a whole bunch. I like them all. I can't afford them all.
Right.
So I think that's the problem here. I mean, I personally in my household, I do not have Xfinity products. My parents do. I mean, luckily I was with my dad for Father's Day and I could watch the Phillies with him.
Did you plan that on purpose?
But no. I was going to go see him anyway. But I think it's going to be, I think we're already starting to see a market correction taking place, right? I mean, CNN had a streaming service and they gave up on it already. A lot of that programming is now on HBO Max instead,
right,
just because there's too many of them. And at some point, the market will have to work this out. And I think for a lot of people I know, they're just going back to cable because if they're trying to pick and choose all these different things, then it really adds up price wise. So back in the day when Netflix was the only thing, that was your place to go. But now there's just so many. But you're right. I think if you're a bar or restaurant, you need to definitely have that Prime subscription. I don't know what it means for a bar to get the rights to show that, but
that's the thing, Frank. I was explaining that earlier.
Tricky.
Like you don't have to get the rights as long as you're paying for the service. That's where the companies are really in a weird situation. If you have an Amazon subscription, you can put that anywhere as long as it's one of your approved accounts. You know what I mean? Like if I have Hulu. I'm allowed up to 10 devices or 10 things are allowed to stream it. And if I go more than 10, I have to pay more money for it, right? So, like, who's saying that, I know a couple places that have UFC fights, for example, the pay-per-views. Well, you got to have that's not on cable. You got to, flip it over to the internet side to even pump that through your bar or restaurant. So, I'm just saying, why can't somebody... Yeah, they're already doing it for UFC fights. I know people do it for, the Premier League and the soccer stuff that's on all these platforms. I'm just saying it'd be smart for someone to be like, hey, you want to see the Phillies this Sunday? Come to my bar.
Yeah, I agree. But, a lot of those pay-per-view fights that are a big deal, you have to pay for every occupant and your maximum occupancy in your bar to show the game. So I don't know if they thought all this out yet for a lot of these games on Amazon Prime. So
I guarantee you they didn't, though.
The market has got to correct itself at some point, right? I mean, there's just no, but they're not going to leave money on the table if they can help it, right? I mean, that's what this is driven by.
Well, let me ask you a question, Frank. When Apple TV Plus paid, what is it, $2.5 billion for the MLS games for the next several years, do you think Apple TV Plus really had it all figured out of how exactly to make that money back? Or are they just saying, hey, this is how much money we got to sell in terms of advertising?
Hey, sometimes it's a loss leader. You need to make yourself credible. You need to spend a lot of money. I mean, they do it with athletes, right? When Jason Worth left the Phillies for the Nationals, they paid him way the heck too much money. They just need to have some credibility again, right? So, I guess that's and we're seeing these streaming companies probably pay more than they're going to get back in revenue, just so that they can get themselves into the conversation, which which is what you have to do sometimes strategically as a business, right? But I'm really interested to see. This is a sort of a related note. I did expect to be talking about sports business here, but but I'm really interested to see as these cable companies maybe become less relevant. Like what happens to these TV packages to a lot of teams? Phillies were one of them to sign a very big deal. Well, guess what? If nobody has cable anymore, are they going to be able to pay the bill for that for that deal? So I think there's going to be a major market correction down the line here. I think right now that we're trying to see where it goes. I just know for me, I would love to be able to just pay the team directly to see every one of their games. I don't know how reasonable that is, but maybe there's a way to do that eventually.
Well, I think the other side of that, Frank, is that, I would have to venture that part of the problem also is that you have an entity like, for example, NBC Sports, that NBC Sports Philadelphia, it's available on YouTube TV and it's on Xfinity, but it's not on, let's say, like, Direct TV, like a satellite dish. Whereas other parts of the country, a Bally Sports might be available on the satellite, but you might not be able to get it on anything else unless you get, like, MLB TV, some sort of extra deal that you get. Like, for example, on my phone, I have MLB TV through my cell phone carrier. But the problem is I can't watch any Phillies games because of blackout restrictions.
Right.
So, what goes next? Is it us whittling down the app streaming, or do these sports finally eliminate the blackout restrictions?
I think they're going to have to. For example, my family has a military family in it, and they were down in North Carolina. And anytime the Phillies played the Nationals, they could not watch the games. They could not find Phillies Nationals on
horrible.
TV, and they could not watch Phillies Nationals on MLB.TV. And someone living in Las Vegas, it's like they block out every California team. So there really needs to be a major correction here. I think it's going to be frustrating the next several years while all of sports and the industries figure out how to do this. But I think we're going to be in the middle of it for the next several years, and it will be very, very frustrating.
Before I let you go, Frank, was Kevin Franson not the star of the Peacock broadcast?
They had so many people on there. It's really hard to tell who was and who wasn't. But no, I actually like Kevin Franson. It's a shame the Phillies lost him, but he got that high-profile job with the Nationals. I think he's really good at it, and it's a shame the Phillies didn't have that kind of opening for him here in Philadelphia. But yeah, I like Kevin Franson.
Yeah, I mean, listen, no offense. I mean, I said this earlier to Ruben Amaro Jr. or Ben Davis. I just think Franson's better than both of them, and I would have loved to see the Phillies find a way to keep him, but the Phillies got their little rotation thing going on, and they seem to be happy with it and that's what they are, right?
That's just a side note. It's cheaper to have a few part-timers than have one full-timer that's with you all the time. So I'm sure that has a lot to do with it, Josh. So talking about money and broadcasting and prices and all that stuff. So, but yeah, I think the days of committing to one is over. We see it on the radio. We see it on TV. It's a lot easier to have a few guys fill the role than it is just to have one guy.
He is Frank Klose. Follow him on Twitter at Frank Klose, Klose with a K. Phillies mailbag tomorrow on the Sports Bash with Mike Gill. Send all your questions to Frank, and he will answer as many as he can in his weekly article, the Phillies mailbag, over at 973ESPN.com. Frank, appreciate you jumping on the conversation today.
Always good to talk to you, Josh.
Josh Hennig here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. We'll get back to your guys' thoughts and comments on the text board, 609-403-0973. It's a Dan EHT, as well as a couple other messages coming in. So we'll get to you guys on the other side. I'm Josh Hennig, and this is Game Night.
It's the Stanley Cup Final on Sports USA, and in nature and in hockey, powerful forces collide. The Avalanche and Lightning are in a battle for supremacy on the ice and a chance to hoist the Stanley Cup. Tampa Bay can strike quick with Stamkos and Palat. Colorado brings a trio of threats in McKinnon, Kidry, and Makar. It's Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Final in Tampa. Today, as the Lightning host the Avalanche on your home for the Stanley Cup Final, Sports USA.
Coverage begins at 7:30 on 97.3 ESPN.
Big down payments. Thousands down. We interviewed the victims. Tell us what happened, ma'am.
Well, I says to myself, South, go to the all-new Springfield Mitsubishi, Atlantic City. Every vehicle's just one dime down.
And then?
I ended up at some other dealer.
Why?
They had guaranteed credit.
Let me guess, $4,000 down.
Yeah, $4,000.
Next time, go to Springfield Mitsubishi of Atlantic City.
Springfield Mitsubishi knows it's a crime to pay more than a dime.
Every vehicle, one dime down.
But my credit stinks.
Just ask for credit amnesty. If you bring home $350 a week, you could get up to $25,000 in credit.
It's a crime to pay more than a dime.
Every vehicle, one dime down.
At the all-new Springfield Mitsubishi, Atlantic City.
In Pleasantville.
Springfield Mitsubishi AC.com. Springfield Mitsubishi AC.com.
222 Mirage, 16.4, dime down, $249 a month for 72 months at 3% APR, plus tax tag title to qualified buyers.
The smoke is back at Church's. Our $6 smokehouse chicken meal is a juicy half chicken served with mashed potatoes and a honey butter biscuit. All that for just $6, but not for long. Church's, welcome to the great state of flavor. Offer valid at participating locations.
Here at Total Wine & More, you'll love what you find, especially our totally low prices. I'm firing up the grill for burgers and want to impress the neighbors. This bourbon has a smoky flavor that'll go great with your grill. Nice! Wow, and look at that price. Well done. I prefer medium rare. Your neighbors will love it. Love what you find. Only at Total Wine & More. With the lowest prices in the tri-state area. Drink responsibly, B21.
And Doug. Chances are you're jamming in your car right now. And since Liberty Mutual customizes car insurance so you only pay for what you need, Limu and I are going to show you some safe car dance moves. Hit it. Everybody, check your blind spots real quick. Now hands on the wheel. Put them 10 and 2 and move your head like a bird do. Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
If you've ever ordered food for work, you understand. It's different. There's just so much more at stake. Whether it's a meeting, a client call, or lunch with the office that has to arrive at the actual lunchtime, food for work has to work. That's why there's Easy Cater. Food that's on time and as ordered from over 82,000 restaurants. And if there's a problem, rare, you can reach someone in seconds.
Thank you for calling Easy Cater.
Some food just doesn't work at work, but Easy Cater just does. Order 24/7 at easycater.com.
What's all the buzz about cleaning your nose, nasal hygiene, and Navage? The science is simple. Your nose is the body's air filter for trapping allergens and viruses, but it's not perfect. Like washing your hands and brushing your teeth, it's time to start cleaning your nose too. Navage uses powered suction to pull saline in one nostril to the back of the nose where most germs and viruses multiply, then flushes them out the other nostril before they reach your lungs. My name's Martin Hoke, and I didn't invent nasal irrigation. It's been around thousands of years. I did invent Navage to make it easy for everyone. In less than 30 seconds, you can clean your nose. And because it's all natural and drug-free, it's safe to use Navage every single day. Are you ready to join nearly 3 million people who use Navage to breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and stay healthier? At Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Bed Bath, and Target. Navage. Navage. Clean nose, healthy life.
The uh-ohs are out there. Scratches, dents, unexpected natural events. But with Mako and their magic, your car is no longer tragic. So when life throws you uh-ohs, just say,
better get Mako.
And go to Mako.com to book your appointment today.
Hey Dad, cool if I change this?
They may not get each other's music, but they can both get a COVID-19 booster shot. Because the CDC recommends booster shots for people 12 years and older after completion of a primary series. Schedule an appointment as soon as you are eligible. Sponsored by BioNTech and Pfizer.
With no fees or minimums and no overdraft fees, banking with Capital One is the easiest decision in the history of decisions. Even easier than choosing Charles Barkley in a pickup game.
We'll take Barkley.
Ha! First pick. Sorry, kids. Yep, even easier than that. With no fees or minimums and no overdraft fees, is it even a decision?
Okay, here's the plan. Pass me the ball every time.
This is banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply.
See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One NA, member FDIC.
With GMF financing, approved credit excludes Corvette and prior sales.
There's big news just announced from Bennett Chevy in Egg Harbor Township. Bennett's got huge savings on every new Chevy in stock. And right now, this is huge. Bennett's paying a record-breaking minimum $10,000 for any trade, running or not. That's at least $10,000 towards any pre-owned vehicle in stock. And we're loaded with them, so we're having a pre-owned liquidation. Hurry in for a minimum $10,000 for even the worst trade. And just think how much more you'll get for a good quality trade. As for new Chevys, unlike other dealers, Bennett's not selling over a factory sticker. Plus, there's 0% available financing. Stuck in a lease? We can get you out early, any make, any model, and we'll buy your vehicle even if you don't buy one of ours. Stop in for a quick quote. Never any pressure, never any obligation, because our non-commissioned sales staff is paid on your satisfaction, not how much you spend. So come on and find new roads at Bennett Chevrolet, Egg Harbor Township, and BennettChevy.com.
Now, more Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
Josh Hennig here, wrapping up Game Night here on 97.3 ESPN. Don't forget to tune in this week. The next few days, I'll be giving away 4-packs to the Atlantic City Seafood Festival. That's this weekend. You have the chance to choose either Friday or Saturday, a 4-pack of tickets, whether you want to go Friday or Saturday. Your choice. Just keep tuning in to 97.3 ESPN FM, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday for your chance to win tickets, 4-pack of tickets to go see the Atlantic City Seafood Festival. That is this weekend over in Atlantic City. You can choose between either Saturday or Sunday. Keep it tuned, 97.3 ESPN FM and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app. Over on the text board at 609-403-0973. Danny H. He says the problem with the Phillies season is that even with more teams in the postseason, the National League is so strong they may be on the outside looking in again. I mean, listen, Dan, you're right. You know, it's not going to be an easy road because there's so many good teams right now in Major League Baseball that, you know, especially the National League, that the Phillies are in a very disadvantaged situation, right? You know, right now, the teams that are ahead of them, the Padres, number 1, the wild card, number 2, the Giants, number 3, the Braves, and then number 4, the Brewers, tied with the Cardinals, and the Phillies right behind them. I think that when you look at the teams ahead of them, the only teams that really scare me ahead of the Phillies are the Padres and the Braves. I think the Giants pitching staff has its limitations, and I think they've suffered their own set of injuries out there with some of their position players. I think the Brewers have a top-heavy rotation, and their hitters have been very Jekyll and Hyde this year. I don't think the Cardinals have enough as much talent as the Phillies do. When the Phillies are healthy and the Cardinals are healthy, I think the Phillies have more talent. So, realistically, if there are 3 wild card spots, to me, you really only have to outplay 3 of the teams ahead of you, not all 5 of them. So, it is a difficult road. It is going to not be easy. And it's a problem, Danny HT, but I think it can be done if the Phillies get healthy, if the Phillies make the right trade before the deadline. Another text over at 609-403-0970. The texter says, if the Phillies need to start for a few games, why not bring up Painter? Yes, he's only 20 years old. You don't want to mess with these guys' development, but he's hot right now. Let him start or 2 because you have no one else right now to do it. By the way, Mark Appel should be the next man for the bullpen. I agree 100% about Appel for the bullpen. I'm a big believer in a guy like Appel who's shown that he's got the juice back in his arm after the injuries. You know, I read that article by Peter Gammons in The Athletic. I thought he did a great job at laying out the fact that, you know, Mark Appel even himself is like, I didn't think I'd get back to this point. I didn't think my arm would ever have this much juice back in it, but now he's throwing 96, 97 down there at AAA. I think you should bring him up here. You know, maybe you try to convince Knable that he has an injury. I don't know. I mean, the guy doesn't look healthy. Maybe he is hiding an injury. I don't know. But, you know, listen, the next time one of these bullpen guys go down, maybe you do call up Mark Appel, let him get some work on the back end of the bullpen, see what happens. As far as Painter, I don't agree because 2 reasons. One, what you said yourself. It's not always a good idea to mess with a player's development. You know, a lot of these guys, they may look good in the minor leagues because of who their competition is. Painter right now is at single A Clearwater, and then he got moved up to Jersey Shore. He has a 9 ERA at Jersey Shore, but before that, he had a 1.4 ERA in Clearwater. So is he the guy with the 9 ERA at Jersey Shore, or is he the guy with the 1.4 ERA at Clearwater? I think that we need to see more from Andrew Painter before I'm ready to just call him up. I like the strikeout to inning ratio a lot. I'm a big believer in that. I think that the young man has shown himself to be a very good pitcher. I just think that he's too early in the process. And I think that doing well against players at single A Clearwater, Florida is a huge difference between the major leagues. I just don't think he's ready for the big show. But I'm with you 100%. It's time to call up Mark and Powell. Let him help this bullpen because they definitely need help. Oh, my goodness. Thanks to Frank Klose for joining us. Stanley Cup Finals Game 3 tonight, 7:30 p.m. here on 97.3 ESPN FM is the coverage, and on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app. I think the Lightning win this game tonight. I think that it's getting to the point where this is now the second straight series. Tampa has been down 2-0 in the series, and I refuse to believe the Lightning are a bad hockey team or that Colorado is that much better after 2 games. I'm going to chalk it up to the fact that Colorado had the crowd behind them, and Tampa maybe wasn't ready for the second game, and Tampa Bay started looking ahead to Game 3, which is tonight. Have a great night, everybody. Catch you tomorrow.
Health Update with Robin Stoloff. Learn more, live better.
If you'd like to drop a few pounds as the summer season